I've got to say, I was on a phone call this week. You know, they're talking about all the Supreme Court decisions that are coming down, and they're trying to get us ready for them. The three big cases, two sexual orientation, one transgender, right? We're not confident about these things. Their hope is that Gorsuch is going to vote with us because of the letter of the law, and that he sometimes goes that way, but I'm not.
There's like about 34 anti-trans bills right now. ACLU has them listed. And this to me is so overkill because we have, what is the population of the transgender community? It's like 0.6%, according to the Williams Institute.
It's always best to pick on a small minority. It's harder for them to fight back.
34 bills.
It's horrible.
It is horrible.
It's hateful. Well, so should we talk about some of these things that are happening around the states? Where do I have any of that information?
South Dakota was interesting. What's happening there? Well, there was a bunch of anti-trans stuff happening now, but Iowa and South Dakota really the two.
It was nice to see in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, that hundreds demonstrated against a slew of anti-LGBT bills. We never know if these bills are going to go all the way, but we try to keep you aware of them. You've got to cue into your state and figure out what's going on there. We'll tell you about as much as we can. In Florida, a bill to nullify local laws protecting LGBT rights. Now, 60% of the state is already covered by protections. Miami and Fort Lauderdale, all these cities, right?
The gay ones.
But
then what about Tampa?
60% of the state. I don't have the whole list in front of me, but the House committee there in Florida passed this bill 10-5, which would nullify all of them, and saying you can't have this because the state doesn't have it.
Yeah, that's a worry.
So now they've introduced it for the last 10 years, so we don't know if it's going to go forward.
Is it my imagination, or is California swinging to the right? Because in LA they're having the worst number of hate crimes they've had in a decade.
I don't think politically it's swinging to the right, but the whole country has become a hot mess of bigotry and people feeling that they can strike out. And if you want to see hatred, go to Texas. The state Republican Party rejected the Log Cabin Club for a booth at their annual convention for the party for the 20th time, calling its members immoral and perverted. They're just not into you. I have to tell you that, Log Cabin. It doesn't matter that you debased yourself and endorsed Donald Trump for re-election. The 2018 platform of the Republican Party had 81 planks, 24 of which were anti-LGBT.
Wow.
So they're quite obsessed with you. They're quite obsessed with homosexuality. So yes, there are now 200 anti-LGBT bills across the country.
And this Fred Deutsch character is behind a bunch of them.
Well,
this representative, he's pushing bills through in different states. I think there's Kentucky, Tennessee,
part of an organization,
Florida,
is it
Georgia. Yeah, I think it must be.
Yeah, the right wing is very organized. They write these bills for one city or one state, and then they spread it around the country and said you're going to do this year. This is what we're going to do. And part of it is getting people whipped up around trans rights and trans people in locker rooms
and bathroom bills
and all that to get people get their side whipped up. And we're the scapegoats. That's what a scapegoat is.